So I've got my Arches paper all taped onto my board here. I've got my straight edge ruler, and I'm only using this ruler just to make some sort of straight lines. I'm not going to be measuring anything. We have this horizon line in the back here, and that is where the sky meets the earth, which is a typical horizon, physical horizon. The sky meets the earth, and that can be all sorts of things, mountains, etc. So I'm going to use this line back here, the actual physical horizon of where the sky meets the earth, and we can see that the barn is set down below that, right? So it's not sitting flat on that line. This frontmost corner or edge of that barn is closest to us. So that one's going to be down the furthest, and then from there we're going to create some vanishing points and have all of our lines kind of go to these two vanishing points. Okay, so let's get into it. So we established that we're going to use that line in the background as our horizon, and I'm just going to put this lightly in here just so I kind of have something to reference. I don't need it to be real dark. I don't need it to be perfect or exact. I just need it to be a line that visually kind of looks right to me. Okay, so then we can say, well, the first edge of that barn is not sitting right in the middle. Remember we talked about the edge that's closest to us? That one's not sitting right in the middle of the composition. In fact, it's maybe, if we were to come to the middle, maybe over right about in this area here. I'm gonna just kind of put a reference line there to establish that front corner, and we will come back in and finalize it. But I'm just gonna draw kind of a light line, and I want it to go below my horizon line, but I don't want it to be too crazy, and this is even too long. Right about here in this area kind of looks good. This is the closest point to us. Now what we want to do is we're going to have everything kind of shift away and vanish. This next point here is also sitting below that horizon line. If it was sitting right on the line, then that means that barn would be going all the way back as far as you could possibly see it. And it's not. It's somewhere over here, and it's also not exactly in the middle of the paper. Or middle of the photo. So if we say this is the middle of the paper, maybe we come over here just a little ways and we draw another line. And we're going to say that's going to be that far edge over there. And then we have a line kind of over here as well. It also comes down below the horizon line, which is really important. And it's got about this much space from the edge. So I'm just going to kind of eyeball that in there as well. Again, I just want to get something that I can paint that looks pretty good. So now what we're going to do is we're going to establish a vanishing point on the far end of this horizon line over here. For the sake of this drawing, we're going to just say that it's, maybe over here somewhere. So now from this point here that I established, this is the bottom of the front corner of that barn, I'm going to put my straight edge on there and run it right over to that point there. And I'm only going to draw where I drew this line and where it intersects. Okay, so this is going to be the front. This is the front area of this barn. Now, what we want to do is establish how high we think this is. And because we're just eyeballing this, it doesn't have to be perfect. I'm going to say, we have this horizon line. It's the top of the box of the barn, maybe here. Okay. And now I want to take this point and go over to this vanishing point over there. And that should give us the front of this barn structure. Okay. So we have this, it's going to be pretty exaggerated because again, I think that vanishing point goes, so it's not just like a straight box. I'm going to establish a vanishing point off my paper over here and just kind of use that as a reference. But start from this point and go over to this vanishing point that I drew on my table. I'm going to do the same thing over here. Okay, so there's the main box of our barn. This front space might be a little bit too long. I think I'm going to shorten that if this might feel a little bit better. And let's establish this as the front corner. I like that so much better. This is even over a little bit. I think it should be over about there, but we're just going to leave it. Who cares? So now we need to establish where the point of the ridge line of the roof comes in. And it's going to be, it looks like it's centered on this box. Now we don't just draw it right in the center of this line because that's not the center. So what you do is draw a line, you don't measure, you just draw a line from this point, that corner to that corner, and this corner to this corner, and where they cross, that is the center line of that box. So I'm just going to draw a line through that. And so somewhere in here is going to be the top of my ridge line. Now we're going to measure the height of here using what we already have as a reference. And I can see this line here is the same visual height as from here to here. So let's say it's like this, and we're going to come over here, and that seems like that would be way too tall, right? So I don't think I like that idea. Let's try this one. So this one to here and to here. So let's say it's about there. And we're gonna draw a line here to that point that we just came up with, and then we'll draw another line here to that point. And it's going to come down just a little bit beyond. Okay. All right. So now we have this ridge line here, and that's going to connect to our vanishing point as well that I drew over on my table. Okay, and then this line here is going to be parallel to this one back here. So we're just going to eyeball that. Again, doesn't have to be crazy, but I'm trying to determine if this line and the line of the ruler look about the same. To me, they pretty much do. So I'm just going to put a little line in here to indicate where the roof line of that barn goes. And this overhang comes down, so I'm going to make that parallel with the actual line that I put in. The roof typically overhangs over the box, doesn't just go right to the edge. Same with over here. And that's going to go also to that vanishing point that I drew on my table. There's the basic shape for this barn. It looks pretty close, and we have a tree back in here. And you know, this also would overhang. So I'm gonna come out beyond this just a little bit here. And this would overhang the front as well. And I'm just making these visually parallel. All the boards that run left and right are going to be going to the vanishing point. Now, vertical, they're going to just be parallel with these lines here. So these two lines are parallel, but they're going to get closer, visually closer together because we're compressing that space because it's going into the distance. We'll just kind of rock and roll. So here we go. that's it. Thanks for hanging out with me while I painted this barn and worked on some perspective today. Make sure you like and subscribe to my channel. Let me know what you loved, and if you have any questions, holler. See you next time when I make stuff.
They wonder how I do it like that. 7 flex on the jacks on that.